We could, thank you. If we could take a seat, also housekeeping, if we could just reach down, turn off our cell phones or mute them, please. We're going to back on the record for continuing with our budget deliberations. Kathleen, back to you. I think we are at the point where we're looking at the B budget items, supplemental B budget.
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So we're starting out with, in the general fund, the first one up is for the auditor recorder elections, an election truck at $40,000.
So, you know, I got thinking on this one. I've given it a lot of thought. And I've come up with a solution for Phil. And he was telling us that part of the reason he needed this is because he couldn't go more than 40 miles an hour down the couplet. And so my solution is to stay off the couplet. No? Okay. Well, I guess you need a yes or no on this, huh?
You.
Rick, where you at?
Well, I'm going to go with no one more time.
Okay. Jim?
Yes.
Boy, that means I'm the tiebreaker.
Zoom.
And the Tahoe isn't just cutting the mustard with it. It's not a heavy enough vehicle.
And how many days a week and how many weeks out of the year do you need it?
About 3 months of the year it's in operation.
Jim said we could use it for parades.
That would push it up to 3 months and 4 days.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say for right now, put an asterisk by this. I'll say yes for right now, but I'm really, really on the fence on this one. I think that there's vehicles that may be available within the county, whether that's steel, where's Scott Williams at? Or steel Scott's truck. Don't you have a big old heavy 1 ton?
We have a 1 ton that we let them use last year to pull the trailer with.
Okay.
I like that idea.
We can talk about that another time. Okay, moving along.
Moving along to the sheriff's office. There are 4 considerations from the personnel side. So the additional overtime for the jail patrol and crime lab, and then in other we have our critical incident line that we had talked about, and then there are requests for equipment for the new positions.
Okay, we'll take it individually. I mean, as the main liaison to the sheriff's department, I know that Sheriff Bartlett and I talked about this. In fact, I think this critical incidents over time was probably at the urging of myself, telling him that we should have a line item for that. And I know we had a lot of discussion about this. I mean, it's basically you can't predict what's going to happen in that line of work. So I'll just put it over to you guys. Let's take them individually. Overtime additional for the jail. Rick?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
That's a yes for me. Overtime additional on patrol. Rick?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
Be a yes for me. I don't recall discussing the one about the crime lab, but we'll go down there. Overtime additional crime lab for Rick?
Yes.
And Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Yes for me. And then the critical incidents, again, the money for that line item. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes for me. The health services unit, this is the equipment for the nurses. Any clarification on that we need? No? Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes for me. Business systems, new employee setups. Rick?
Yes.
And Jim?
Yes.
Yes for me. Vehicle for North County deputy. this kind of goes along that question I asked earlier, and I know you're still working on your budgets for the contracted folks. Why don't you come on up, Sheriff? Address that one.
Afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. So this position, or this vehicle will be for those 2 additional North County deputies that will work on each side of the week, one on the silver, one on the blue. This vehicle will be shared by both of those units. It is not for the contract deputies that will be hired through the contract cities. This is for unincorporated North Ada County.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the sheriff? Okay, Rick, where you at?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes for me, please. Health Services Unit non-indigent increase. Rick?
Some more info on that, please.
Okay, Sheriff, can you come up and enlighten us on your request there?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is for those medical costs in the non-indigent area. We budgeted for the last 8 years $400,000 in this line item, although we've never been under $400,000. The last couple of years, I think $538,000. The chart is attached to our budget presentation. I could get that for you to give you exact numbers, but that's the reason for the increase. Just June 1st, we ran out of money in this line item, so we have 4 months to go. On average, we're typically about $100,000 short. We're requesting to add $100,000 to it, which would bring us about to exactly what we're spending, somewhere in there.
Okay, any questions?
Sure. So it works out to 100,000, no rounding off. 100,000 fits it pretty
No, that
well.
will be short as well. We're trying to keep those costs down. I think this year we're around $538,000 in 2017. We're asking to increase it by 100,000 this year. Every year we're right around that figure.
Thank you.
We estimate this year that it may be a little bit higher, but that's our request for increase is 100,000.
Okay. Thank you.
So historically, you're just running short all the time. You just want to boost it up, so. That is correct. Okay. Thanks. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes for me, please. The training facility upgrades, any additional information on that from the board wanting? No? Rick?
No.
Jim?
Yep. I'm fine.
Huh?
I'm fine. Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
What's I'm fine? I've never heard
I
that one.
thought you were saying, I thought you were asking if there were any questions. I said no.
You said no also?
Okay, yes for me. IT equipment and enhancements. Why don't you just give us a breakdown of what you're looking at there? You need Steve up there. Second row back from you, in the middle, one with the goofy smile. At that point it was.
I think we've already gone on way too long. That was the idea. Dacers, so that is, I don't remember my presentation. I know I fell asleep during it.
So did I.
Yeah, I know. Put most of the internet to sleep. It was a record. Basically, some of that is life cycle costs for Tritech. The servers being replaced, aging out. Some of it was growth as we're saving more data in there, and then some enhancements for those systems and some interface costs. One of the interfaces I recall was for Odyssey and another couple of software platforms.
Sort of licensing in that too.
A little bit, but anything would be included in that, in those growth.
Oh, Ann's got it there. What would you do without Ann?
Hey, I wouldn't do as good a job. There it is. Additional storage items, some backup. Basically, again, additional storage. North Point IJ5 software, which has to do with their classification systems, new software platform there, interfaces with their jail record system, Odyssey interface, some additional license from Microsoft, enhancements, and then also some desktop phone replacements, as you've seen a few other departments putting those in there. They've got them wrapped under one line item.
Okay, any questions for Steve?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Visser?
Steve, do you have any idea what the average has been in this area, say the last 2 or 3 years?
I don't believe they've ever asked for They've asked for some enhancements for TriTech. This is the first time we've had to expand the storage there, and it's getting old, just old enough now, we're starting some life cycle there. Enhancements come and go depending on what's going on with the county, so they kind of bounce around.
But would I be correct in saying this is a one-time expense, but there will be supporting costs down the road?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Rick?
Yes.
Jim? Yes. Myself, yes.
Moving on to the assessor's office, so you have a $5,000 request for IAC dues, and the comment that if the BOCC budgets it in their budget, then this would be removed, so.
So Bob, I had a question about that, and it's just, I don't know if you know the answer or not, but one of the discussion topics later on is you know, the board getting back with IAC. So if I'm correct, what I'm hearing is you say if we rejoin IAC, they won't charge you that $5,000. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, that's correct, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Bob.
So this is conditional then?
Yeah, I guess this would be conditional upon whether we decide to,
Right.
in our, a little bit further down today. So, Rick, where you at?
Well, if we don't have to wait for right now, yes is fine for me.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say yes, unless we join IAC and then there's no need for it. So maybe put an asterisk beside that and we'll figure that out.
Prosecutor's office. Most of the first 6 requests are related to the personnel. New positions.
So are these, what are these? I mean, you say they're related, it's
So-
not an attorney.
Right, so whatever they may need, desk, chair, Office 360, whatever software package they need, that kind of training.
Yeah, I don't think you can find an investigator for $5,500, can you?
That'd be a
Well,
bargain.
it's not for the people, it's for the equipment that's associated with the people. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Desk, computer.
Computers, desks.
You got no sense of humor, Kathleen. What's the deal? She doesn't even know what I'm messing with her.
You were messing with her either.
Okay, so do you want to take this all as one lump?
Question though.
Commissioner Visser.
Jan's here. What are attorney replacement one's magistrate? With magistrate in parens, what's going on there?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Visser, that is that I had to move attorneys to the district court, and so those positions are replacing the people that I had to move to district court. And you're correct, it's software, desks, monitors, things like that.
And then down the line where it says felony, are they moving from magistrate over to, magistrate level up to felony level?
Eventually, yes, that's how we do work. We hire someone new and we move someone else. But that position, if we get it, will go to the district court. Felony
Okay, good
position.
enough.
So just one question, Jen. Drug restitution, $81,000.
So this is what I talked about with regard to court-ordered restitution per statute. If it gets ordered, I want to use this to help with the opioid education, but it would only be offset if I get the revenue. So it's just an anticipation of what I might get next year
Okay, yeah, thanks.
by revenue.
So the amount is fixed. How does the offset with the revenue?
So we're just anticipating that's what I might get next year. If I don't get it, then we won't spend it. So it's our best estimate of what we might get next year.
And then this list is via priority?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, tried to align with the A budget priority.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, do you want to take them individually or all at once?
All at once.
Okay,
I'm good with all of them except the last one.
okay, let's take, let's just take the last one first then. Drug restitution,
No.
okay, and Jim?
Yes.
You know, I'm comfortable with it, being that it's going to be offset with the revenue and only spent if you receive it. So I'm okay there. Yes, for me. And then the remaining 1, 2, 3,
items.
6. The remaining 6 items. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on to operations, right here, you'll see that I actually already have yeses for the last request for operations and the first 3 for IT. Those were actually approved on the CIP, so I actually just went ahead and said yes here, so we don't accidentally cut one out of the other. So in front of you are the requests that operations has. And what I did on the courtroom AV upgrade, that was the original request for $250. And then you had asked Scott what it would be additional if you were to do all the courtrooms together. So that's the additional cost of $475.
Okay. Well, let's take these individually. Courtroom AV upgrades for the 6 courtrooms, $252,000. Rick?
And that, and the notes column, it's ongoing for 2 additional years. So on year 3,
I'm assuming that it will be the same cost each year, but if we did all the courtrooms together, then you have some savings there, because it's only going to cost you 700 and something versus.
so is it 1 or 1A then? Is that the way we would look at
It's,
that?
if you want to just do 6 courtrooms, it's 1. If you want to do all the courtrooms, then it's both
1A.
1 and 1A.
Okay, that's good with me, yeah.
Okay, so you're, it's
So with that in mind, I would say no for 1, but might as well do them all for 1A.
well, it would include 1 and 1A.
Right.
Oh, that's the way it's added on.
Yeah.
Addition.
If you don't want to do 1A, then you have to do 1 over the next, just this year and 2 additional years.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm good with those. We need
Okay.
to get them upgraded.
Jim?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Kathleen. Both of those numbers, 1 and 1A, that was figured into the $7 million shortfall.
No, it was not. The $475,000 is in addition,
Yeah.
because we did not know about it at the time.
Okay. I'm going to say yes to both, but I think we're going to need to come back to it.
Okay, so which one do you want to come back to? Both of them or just 1A?
1A.
Okay, so let's do a yes on both and put an asterisk beside 1A. Okay, the juvenile detention upgrade, the Sally Port gates, that's been problematic forever. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes, for me. PSB jail grounding unbalanced, public safety building, the jail grounding, it's the unbalanced load. It's going to cost about $200,000 to do that. Rick?
And then does that finish it up, or it says ongoing for 1 more year? This would be the 1 more year?
Be 1 more year after this.
Really? Where's Scott?
So it's a $400,000 project then, is that right?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, yes, sir. We did put that in as ongoing. We're not sure what all the problems are going to be. We're trying to get them identified now. It may come down to having to rewire a lot of circuits in the old part of the jail and in the public safety building, because they are what they call Edison circuits. So there was not neutrals run with everything. And to solve this problem, we may have to pull all those out and pull back in new circuits and new wiring to get this solved. The building wasn't designed with the high-speed computers and everything we have today. It just can't handle what's there is part of the issue. We've replaced 2 transformers, and we're going to have to replace a couple of more to solve some of these other issues also.
Okay. This is just one of those things that it's maintenance. It's, I don't think we can't not do it. And if you want a safe jail.
Yeah, so I'm yes on that one.
Okay, Jim?
Yes.
Yes.
And then Scott, you may want to stay here to give us some more info on the next item, please.
Okay, your courthouse access control system upgrade. That's the key cards that go into this building, correct?
Yes, that's all the access for this building and for the assessor and for indigent services.
Okay, and the issue there was we've just, with the software that we've got, we've completely run out of access cards that are available.
Well, we can get access cards. We can't get the cards to expand the system. And if we lose any of the cards that we only have a few spares that we can put in when we have one go bad. And hopefully we can send the old one back and get it fixed by somebody. The cards are no longer available for the system. So if it goes down, nobody has them. We can't get parts for it anymore.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Any additional questions on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scott, so with the addition of all the additional employees if they ultimately are approved. Well, we got to make room for them, right?
Well, we can add cards.
Oh, you can.
What we
okay.
can't do is expand to any more doors. We don't have the capability to add more doors. So as we remodel the buildings and we add more access points for people to get in and out, that's where we run short of being able to do anything with it. The parts aren't available anymore for that. The good part of this is when we upgrade this, the existing card readers and the electric door strikes and the wiring that is associated with those should all be able to be used by a new system.
I misunderstood. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay?
3 yeses.
Moving on to IT. Oh, I'm sorry. So the first 3 you've already approved on the CIP. Now you're just looking at the Microsoft Windows, Office 360, et cetera.
These are the licenses and the new computers. Correct, Steve? Software.
And Office 365 was one of our, was it 2 or 3 options that you presented and recommended? Okay.
Come on up. Get your Fitbit going.
So there were, you pull that up, I've got my, I won't make you sit through my presentation again. I printed it out, killed a tree. So really the difference between how we have to do it going forward, plus, there's really 3 different options, I should say. The difference between the two is roughly about $40,000 a year more from the cheapest to the most expensive. Generally, they start about $500,000 a year. And this has to do with how they license Microsoft Office is a big change that Microsoft has gone through. The point of doing Office 365, it being the most expensive version of this, it eliminates a bunch of the headache, not just for IT. It's going to make it a lot easier on the staff because everybody will have the same software, will have the same operating systems on all the computers, will have the same versions of Office, so that's Excel and Word on all the computers, and everybody will effectively get upgrades at the same time. The way it is right now, years ago, I'm not sure when, but at some point somebody took the budget for the computers and Windows and Office and distributed amongst the departments. So folks have had to budget for that individually in their departments, and that's how we end up with some folks have newer machines than others do, and some folks hold on to their software for a good long time until IT shows up and says, you're at the end of the run, you have to replace it this year, or we're gonna kick you off the network. This makes all that kind of go away. They'll still have to budget to replace their machines, but at least we get the software piece kind of in hand.
Okay, and this is one of those projects that is obviously countywide. It's not really your department, but you're in charge of IT, so you're doing it for the entire county.
Everybody comes to us for solutions. What should we buy? In fact, I was thinking about you guys last week. I got an email through dispatch from one of the dispatchers out there who was, here she is, she's pushing her own envelope, creating a training in PowerPoint, trying to do something better, trying to create a better PowerPoint presentation, and she has a really old one. She doesn't know that, that's all she has, and she can't get something to work. And the email gets to me and she says, well, how do I know when I need to upgrade? I said, well, if it's super old and we can't support that software anymore, we're gonna call you. But if you're pushing your envelope in there, we don't know that. We can't really advise you until you say, hey, I wanna do something in this program, it doesn't work. And then we tell you, yeah, you need the newer version. So now she has to turn around to her leadership and say, I need $250 or $300 to upgrade my office just so I can make this training that I'm trying to do. So this is repeated day in and day out, department from department, all over the place. This flattens at least that end of it out.
Okay. Any additional questions?
No, thank you, Steve.
You're welcome, sir.
Microsoft Windows and Office 365. Jim?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
And me is yes. You shouldn't have gone too far because you might have the explanation on the next one.
Sit in the front row, please.
IT operational expand.
Okay, that's our life cycle section. That's the stuff that never goes away. The chairman likes to talk about the utility of IT, or how we're like a utility organization. You know, we have to constantly expand our systems just to handle the growth of data that we're storing, or the lifecycle management of the systems that we have, or the software that we use to back stuff up. That, we have it all designed under one line item, and I can't find the darn thing. It's in here somewhere, so I apologize. Should have had Ann help me out with this.
So every time we as commissioners come to you with a new project, then that takes additional.
It does, but you know, like I said, it's also the life cycle. Thanks, Renine. And here we have our software, our backup software that backs up all of the data that we have. That's end of life. We're replacing that. That's $150,000. And there's additional hardware needs in there. There's some Microsoft licenses that they're forcing on us that we have to pay. It's a conversion. Additional storage space is being purchased, and some servers. Again, you don't want to replace them all at once. You don't want to get behind the 8 ball. It's a little bit every year. So we'll always have some kind of supplemental regardless of what happens. We'll always be after new tasks, new projects every year.
Okay.
So
Any
it's a big
questions
one.
Do you have any idea what it was last year, Steve?
It's in the realm of that.
Okay.
I'm sorry I don't have that number offhand. I
But
want to
that's
say
close enough.
about $500,000. Good guess.
Realm is pretty specific.
Great. Realm.
Okay. Thanks. Rick?
Yes.
Jim? Yes. Okay, 3 yeses. Now, the rest of these are in relationship to those new positions, correct?
Correct.
We approve, well, 2 to 1, so
Right.
I don't know
Be
if
the same.
you want to just take it as a group and vote that way, or?
Sure.
Okay, so Rick, as a group,
I follow up with a no.
okay, and Jim?
Yes.
I'm going to go yes, since I voted yes on the other.
Moving on to Department of Admin.
Okay, one of the things, Ed, that I was told by our very well and very capable office manager is we received an email from VRT requesting additional funding that we need to, I don't know how we cover that, but apparently they didn't get their numbers right, so they needed more. I don't know how that, happens. It's, how much was that, Judy?
Approximately $1,174.
$1,174? Okay.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah. I think that was caused primarily because of the pay discrepancy between Ada County drivers and Canyon County drivers, and they're trying to make up that difference, and they're asking for Ada County to pay their fair share.
Well, that didn't make, I saw the email that come through, and it doesn't make sense to me because what it seemed like it was saying is that Ada County needed to pay for Canyon County's bus drivers. So,
That wasn't hidden. That seemed like it was what they were saying, you
Yeah.
know.
so I disagree with that. They need to get that money from Canyon County.
And Mr. Chairman, just to add one
Commissioner
other
Tibbs,
point.
the floor is yours.
And I'm not advocating one way or the other, but it's, I think some of those are inter-county routes. So those are Canyon County buses coming to Ada County workers, so it's something extra to chew on.
Okay, let's start off at the top here with our proposal for a lobbyist. Well, I mean, the board's fairly well aware of all this, so I'll just go to each one of them for a vote. Rick?
Just for clarification, though, this is not actually hiring the lobbyist. It's a set aside in case we need a lobbyist.
It's money set aside in case we need to hire a lobbyist, yes?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yes. The next is the request for us to be able to hire a consultant to do the banking services RFP. It's a fairly complicated process, and we being the county doesn't feel that they have the expertise to do this solely alone. So the thought was to go out and hire a consultant to walk us through that. The amount, and it was kind of it wasn't a set figure, it's kind of a rough figure, is about 110,000. And it's looking that banking consultant would happen sometime next fiscal year, so obviously. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, 3. The next is a consultant for RFP for 457. Judy, what is that?
That is HR request, that's to look at their,
Deferred comp. Isn't it?
Oh,
The
is that
deferred
the-
comp 457
For the consultant?
plan for the consultant?
So this one is, again, putting an RFP out for our deferred compensation program. How many years are we on that? 6 or 7, Cassie? 6? So, and obviously the attorneys are always saying that after so many years, we need to take a look at what we're doing, make sure that we're getting the best deal. My only issue and the problem with this particular one is this is it gets kind of convoluted, because with some of these investments to get done through the deferred compensation program, it tends to extend those relationships out, and we end up having 2 or 3 different companies that are handling the different monies. I don't think that we're absolutely required to go out for an RFP. I think that's the discretion of the board. But if we want to go out for an RFP, they need a consultant to help out to the tune of $60,000. So that's the explanation. Rick?
That was my assumption also on this one, so yes.
Okay. Jim?
Yes.
I'm a no on this one, so it's a 2-to-1, so that makes it a yes. The next is the E-Procurement software subscription. I think we're all aware of what that is. It's for Bob to do procurement through online stuff. I think it's online auctions, isn't it?
Procurement dude?
Yeah, the procurement dude. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I'm a yes on that. The next is our capital crimes defense, and as we very abruptly found out last year, that it's very difficult for us to get out of having to pay this one. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Senior contracts, this is in addition to what we already provide some of the different, I think there's 5 or 6 senior citizen centers that we give money to each year. And there's been a couple of them who have come forward and asked for additional funding. So the total amount that over and above is $64.80. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. The next one is the U of I extension. This is the U of I requesting additional money for, I believe it's their A budget. Is that correct, Judy?
yes.
$34,000 of extra to go to the U of I extension. I don't know if they need more explanation. Rick?
And is this amount down from what their earlier proposal was? They were going to make a presentation?
Yeah, they were training, and so their first estimate was high to get.
Okay. Okay, I'm okay with this one then, yes.
Okay, Jim?
No.
Okay, yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm a no on this one. And my reasoning behind this is that they came to us last year and asked to spend leftover money they had, and then they come and ask us for more money this year. So I'm really kind of confused as why you're asking for more money when you didn't use all that we budgeted for you the first time. Community programs, disaster services, ACAM. This is based upon population. It's just an increase. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Yes for me. Compass, again, another program that's based upon population that pretty much goes up every year. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Myself, yes. This one might develop some interesting conversation. Community programs, Allenbaugh House. this is in addition to what we already pay. Do you recall what that sum is that we already paid Allenbaugh House?
293,
252.
It's actually, I think it was 298 last year. I don't know
298.
exactly.
298,000 last year, and they're asking for an additional 8,600. Apparently, they have chosen, that board has chosen to also relate their dues to the population. So, Rick?
I'm gonna go no.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Well, I could just say, as I did last year, we do not see measurable results from this program. The primary benefactors of it are the city of Boise and the hospitals. And I know the state decided not to do any increase last year. I don't know what their commitment was this year, but absent any showing of measurable results, I'll stay with a no.
Okay, Jim?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to vote yes on this, and I'm going to assume that Kate Pape and I had a conversation last year over Allenbaugh House, and when I asked her the question, is this a valuable program for the inmates at Ada County Jail once they're released, she said absolutely. There wasn't a question in her mind. So I'm assuming that the need is still there, so I'm going to support it.
Thank you both. Well, I got to tell you, I'm kind of torn on this one both ways. You know, if you look at it overall, and especially, and this is what a lot of, shall we say, other governmental officials like to point out, and that's, we've got this opioid crisis going on. How best should we fight that? Well, I understand the needs out there, but I also see the same reports that Rick's referring to, and that's, you know, the folks who use it from Ada County, unincorporated Ada County. We hardly have any folks, but yet we pay almost, well, this will make it over $300,000 a year to it. The people who are utilizing this mainly is from the city of Boise. It's about, I'm trying to go off my memory, but I want to say it was in the 90th percentile.
Way up there, yeah.
But yet somehow the county gets roped into paying for these programs that really benefits the cities and should really come out of their budget.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I'd like to just interrupt you, and I wanted to ask Kathleen a question because it might affect how you're going to vote. Is there a chance that indigent from the fund balance could be used to pay for this, the increase?
I do not want to speak for the clerk, but potentially.
Well, maybe you put an asterisk beside that. We'll have that discussion. I don't know.
You're just talking about the increase or the whole thing?
I'm just talking about the increase.
The increase.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the whole thing.
Yeah, whole thing would be nice.
Let's okay, we can chat about the whole thing then.
How about I chat with them at break and we'll come back.
Okay.
We'll asterisk. We'll leave it as no decision at this point.
Yeah, leave that open because I still don't know where I'm at. To me, I'm kind of leaning to saying no. I understand the need, but I'm frankly, if I'm being extremely honest and blunt, I think the county gets roped into paying for a lot of stuff that is somebody else's responsibility and not ours. That's just my opinion.
And mine.
And see, I can have that opinion now.
So that's a firm maybe.
I'm going to leave it blank for now.
Leave it blank. Valley Regional Transit, again, I think this is based upon population, isn't it? Or we just have a set fee?
They've been increasing it.
Yeah, they've been increasing it.
Okay. So the amount they're requesting, is that the 1543 plus the 1174? Yes, it is.
The 1543 is what was presented earlier.
Okay.
And a revised one is 1543 plus 1174.
Rick, where you at?
I'm gonna go no on this one.
Okay, Jim?
Yes?
I'm no on the increase because I don't think that that's our position to pay that. I think they need to be talking to Canyon County. 2 no's, 1 yes. Community programs, housing first, hospital contributions. I'm a little confused about this one. Why are we paying for the hospital stuff?
You are not, Mr. Chairman. I added this after a conversation with Oscar in the prosecutor's office. It's my understanding that I guess it's called New Path, is going to be opening here shortly, and our agreement with them is that 60 days prior, we start paying them contributions, so I think it's $37,500 a month. That includes, so the total is actually $450,000. You budget $250,000, you have it in your budget, and then the hospitals each have set aside $100,000. So for us, in order for us to pay out all the $450,000, we need to have that budget in there. And I have a revenue offset, so we would increase the budget for New Path to $450,000, and we'd have $200,000 of revenue that would offset that. So our true cost is $250,000. At this point in time, for this next budget year for 2019, I do not know what's going to happen for 20. But the true cost of it is $450,000.
Okay, I get it now. It's just another clunky way the county has to budget stuff.
Yes.
So what about our contribution last year? We did make one last year also, right?
No, I believe you budgeted for it, but because the project was not up and running, we did not spend anything. Well, for 18, when we're talking 18, we're going to be starting to spend here probably in August for 2 months.
Okay, and then is that $37,500 per month?
Yes.
Would that be an ongoing expense then too, or is this just a one-year commitment to this program?
I believe it's,
I can answer that.
thank you.
When we were initially approached on this and we agreed to do this, we agreed to fund it for the first year, the $250,000. Subsequent, they could come back and ask the county to continue funding it, but they were required to provide us reports on how their program was going.
There were some goals, there was some real measurement that they had to meet.
And again, it was at the county commissioner's discretion whether you wanted to fund it after that point or not. I think that the other entities involved probably have this idea that the county's in it for the long run, but that when we initially funded it, I was okay for the first year, but again, it's not my call.
So did we put aside $250,000 last year, and that's why
Yes.
we don't have to go $450 now,
So
and hopefully a one-year commitment? Okay.
The request will go in multi-year. I mean, they're going to be
Right, but
asking.
we don't, it's still discretionary.
Yeah, I mean, they understand. They wanted $1 million up front. We said, no. Well, how about $250,000 a year for 4 years? We said, well, we'll discuss a budget at $250,000 for a year. You're gonna have to come back and request it every year after that because we can't indebt future
Right.
commissions.
And does anyone have an idea what Boise City's contribution is?
I do not.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
They, I think, put in $3 million in capital expense. And we're helping fund the wraparound services.
Yeah, our part of it is just funding the services.
Right,
And this one, I believe we are financing through the indigent.
Yes.
Okay. I'm okay with that explanation then.
Okay, you okay with
Unless
the,
Kathleen thinks we need more.
Currently, it's sitting in your Department of Administration budget, not in Indigent
But
Services
it
budget.
originally came from indigent. Didn't it?
I don't know what you mean by it originally came from
Came
indigent.
from the fund balance,
Oh.
indigent fund balance.
Potentially, we move fund balance over. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
yes,
From indigent to, yes. Yes. I'm with you
that's a
now.
very confident answer. I can tell by saying yes.
So we need an asterisk?
So the question before us is the budget the 200,000 in order to be able to pay out the 450.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Rick Rayette.
Say yes.
Jim?
Yes.
If you say no now.
I'm okay with it. I'll hold my nose and,
Yeah, that's all I'm doing.
but I'm voting for it because I understand how we have to have it to spend it, that you have to have it in your budget. So that's, not that I
like there
There's
is
probably
in
a better
1,000
way
now.
somehow. Okay, next up is,
The two contingencies that you have in Department 30 in the general fund, so you had requested $1 million for contingency in the operating budget and an additional 100,000 in the personnel budget. That's above the 400,000 that we set aside for the 2% holdback we discussed this morning.
so let me give you a little history on this. The reason we bumped it up to $1 million was twofold. Number one, a couple of years ago, we had a cooler in the courthouse go out to the tune of $600,000 that we had. I mean, we had to replace it. There's nothing we can do. So I think before that we was at 400,000 or 500,000. And then so that next year we bumped it up. The reason we bumped it up to $1 million, if you recall, is we were concerned that we would have a bunch of things needing to repair after the floods, and so we bumped that up to $1 million. I'm not sure if we think we need to continue to stay at $1 million.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Maybe.
So the question is $1 million.
We aren't adding
No.
another million, no, we're just gonna have that as our threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Jim?
Yes.
And I guess I'll go with a yes. And then the next one is the personnel budget contingency. There's 400,000 in there. We're adding an extra 100,
Yes,
so for a total of 500.
yes.
My only concern about this is if we get departments moving forward who are very efficient and very good at keeping their, I'll use the sheriff as a good example, where a couple of years ago I was always riding the sheriff's department about, having all these vacancies, but yet over the years, he's tightened that up and he's using all his positions that he's budgeted for. Now we run up against this problem of funding. So I'm kind of thinking that we might want to bump that up a little bit just to be on the safe side. That's up to you guys.
And it was from 4 to 5?
Well, with this 100 here, it'll be at 5.
Right.
So you might think about bumping that up an extra 100. It's up to you guys again.
I'd like to bump it up to 200,000.
Where are you at?
100 is fine with me.
So you're at 100, he's at 2. I don't care.
Yes, you do.
I do care.
I do have to
I'll
say,
split the difference. How about 150?
Yeah, that's okay.
150, got 150, do I have 150? I have here too.
He wants to do your,
Let's go to 150. And I got a yes there, or I don't care?
yes.
Yes? Yes, and a yes.
Auctioneering, huh?
Yeah. I need a new career.
It's harder than you think.
so you are at the end of your first round.
Oh, good. Let's see the number.
Hey, thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you
done.
coming.
Yeah, I'm thinking not. Ready for the big reveal? We went from a deficit of 7 million to a deficit of 13,448,120. We cannot go any further off the chart than we are now.
Looks good to me.
It's only supposed to go to 10 million. So, would you like Anthony to come up and kind of address how we could manage some of this with the tool, or what's your pleasure? Or take it under advisement for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm
you wanna
wait until tomorrow.
You want to wait till tomorrow? Jim? Kind of think it over. So how far can we go over?
You can go no further over than where you are. Well, you can.
We're off
The
the
tool
screen.
will allow you to, but you're going to be in the red so deep.
Now that we're where you wanted to be.
Even worse or better?
50,000 word.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
Can I, just, I don't know if this will take very long, but we didn't take the 3%. So if we add the 3% back in,
You want him to monkey around with the tools then?
yeah.
Anthony?
I will let him have it. Oh, excuse me.
You might as well see
Commissioners,
where they're
Judy?
at, I guess.
All right, so you want to add the 3% in
Yes.
for the taxes?
Yeah, just to look at it.
Yeah.
That drops us down to just under 10 million of a deficit.
How much you got in the bank?
Like $40.
Not you personally.
Anthony, what would happen if we, for the pay increase, go back to a 3%?
Okay. That drops us down to just below 7.5.
And if we use 4 million of foregone and 3 million of fund balance, what would that take us to?
So an additional 3 million in fund balance?
Yes.
So we have a built-in 2.5 million in fund balance. So right now we would be using 3.5 million. So we wouldn't need to use an additional 4 million in fund balance at that point.
We wouldn't need to use the additional 4 million of what? That you've got.
Jim asked to build in some savings using it in there, so I'm just going to ignore that request for now.
So you use 2.495 of savings, but we'd still need to tap into the fund by another 33.4 million.
Yes, correct.
And okay.
That's in the general fund.
But I'm seeing a green.
But we're in the green. Yeah. We're happy with that.
Take it to the edge of the green.
Which way?
Your left. My left.
This way? Okay. So that would be moving probably be about 3.5. There you go. So using 3.5 million of foregone taxes moves us to that farthest left green point.
Now you're bumping up, may I say, right to the amount of fund balance that we can go no higher. I don't think we want to go much past 3.5 million of foregone, or fund balance, sorry.
And can you, if back to the sheriff's budget, if it was for the nurses, the supervisor and 4 nurses, and reduced it by 4
Can't do that quickly, but let's say
we can do that and not, maybe tomorrow or something.
that would probably be about 475,000. So let's just do that. It'd drop us down to 3.5.
Well, let me ask this. Can you, out of everything we've done today, maybe your sheets that we went through and approved, maybe you can print those out for us, let us take a look at it. They have dollar amounts on them, right? Okay. Food for thought.
And as an option, though, I don't see, personally, I don't see in this budget the criteria that I would go into foregone taxes. So we could have one with 0 there and one with this number right here for the printouts. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the other thing too is if the board does consider foregone, you have to hold a special public hearing in order to take foregone. So if that's there, we would need to schedule that.
Right, and I think if we, certainly with the help of the other elected officials and department heads, I think we could package this in a way that this is for, a lot of it's for public safety, and the public has always been very supportive of public safety issues. I think we're at a point where we need to use foregone. Number one, that's probably going to go away in a few years. It'll be done by the legislature. We've got $12 million there. 80,000 new people live in Ada County. We haven't been able to keep up with the growth. This is a way to catch up a little more by using some foregone. And I think that we could, I think that we can justify it. So there.
Okay.
We're good.
Something for us to chew on. Anything else you want to talk about? If not, we're going to recess for the day. Kathleen, if you could get that stuff up to us, we'll, each individual, you can go through and take a look and see what your thoughts are, what you want to do. And then we reconvene tomorrow at 1?
1 o'clock.
Pardon? 1 o'clock. Anything else before we go? Okay, we will be in recess regarding our budget deliberations until 1 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you all. Appreciate your time and
Thank you.
everything you do.